Welcome to News for Geeks. This week's hot headlines for you. Number 1, Androids on Windows is finally there after a decade of development. Today we have Android subsystem on Windows. Number 2, GitHub previews its faster codespace generation with its preview builds. Number 3, there are two programming languages that we are going to see. One is Avalonia UI and another one is Metalama. Number 4, Meta announces Universal Automatic Speech Translator as an upcoming project to this. Number 5, there is a new wave of attack on vulnerable SQL servers. Let's get into the main news. Hello techies, welcome back to our channel. Let us go together. If you are watching me for very first time, myself Jennifer, I am working as a senior software engineer. Welcome back to the detailed news section of News for Geeks. Right, so number 1, Android on Windows. Right, so almost, so it's Microsoft, so it needs each and every bits of our day-to-day life to be on its OS. So there comes their decade of development of Android on Windows subsystem. It came into live today. So there are few restrictions actually, like it is currently allowed only on US. It's a geographical restriction basically. The second one, it has very few apps onto it. So basically Android on Windows, it runs on its own virtualized build with the help of open source, based on open source Android project. Right, so and it has Amazon App Store in it, so it basically supports whichever apps are supported by Amazon App Store. So very few generic apps like Kindle, Audible are only there, so we could not get much day-to-day activity related apps there. So that's few restriction or limitations, I would say. And the requirements for your machine or your laptop to have Android and Windows to get it running is really heavy, I feel. So they recommend minimum requirement is 8 GB, but 16 GB is recommended. And the processor as well, they have few limitations on that, like it has to be specific generation, it has to be specific core processor, and it has to support these many number of things for you to run Android on Windows. So I would think a bit before getting into that, but it's a great news. Okay, so second thing, GitHub previews its faster code space generation on its preview builds. Okay, so this is a feature that had come from public beta of GitHub recently. So they support this pre-built code spaces, which is nothing but which will essentially help you to reduce your manual bootstrapping steps, something like automatic generation of custom Docker image and cloning a repo, or it might be your initializing scripts, or it might be editor extensions, or so some add-ons installation, or it might be very few things that would do kind of bootstrapping steps. So these and all can be configured, and it would be there would be a ready to go template for you, which would be a minute or a few seconds job for you to create any new workspace. So where from this came? So Microsoft recently, they had ditched their local macOS based development model. So they had moved towards Codespaces, where your development workspace will be set up with VS Code IDE, but still there are few setup configuration steps and all those things which can be done using this pre-built Codespaces concept. Okay, so Codespaces is managed by Codespace service, so they own and they manage it in their own way. Right, so number 3, new programming languages arrival, or they had our announcements. So the first one is Avalonia UI. We all know that WPF, how it evolved. So it gives us pretty much similar to the user controls that we used to get from HTML basically. but .NET 6 it doesn't port or it doesn't take WPF with that. That is one, and another one is it's so much OS dependent. So currently WPF is very much it will work only on Windows OS. Okay, so there comes the usage of Avalonia UI. It's a framework or it's a US independent. It will work on Mac OS, Linux, Android, Windows, in all x64, x86, home and everything. Okay, so it takes the WPF key concepts and XAML scripting knowledge. Okay, with that it uses CSS styling, which is HTML CSS styling for styling purpose and all. At the end, it brings you a high rich user experience for you. It's basically a kind of C# oriented maybe add-on. I would say it's normal. It's just like a .NET add-on. If you want to use, you could just add it as a add-on, and you can go ahead and you can use it. Okay, if you want to contribute to the project, maybe I'll give the link down. You could go ahead and you could check about the roadmap and feature development and everything. It has an amazing feature which is browser like dev tools on it. So if you want to debug something, if your application is not working as expected, you're free to go. Right. The second interesting programming arrival or programming language arrival is Metalama. So Metalama is a meta programming framework. It's a modern Roslyn based meta programming framework for .NET basically. So what is special with Metalama? So if you would have aware about PostSharp, again it's from Meta or Facebook. So it's very much similar to it, but it's a successor of it, and it is mainly used to avoid boilerplate code. Boilerplate code, you might be wondering what it is. It is nothing but the repetitive code. So for an example, if you take getters and setters, it would be obviously it will return, set, it will obviously set the value to the variable. So these are all will be, if you have some 10 properties or 10 getters setters in your .NET code, it would be awkward to see the same code being repeated there. Okay, so this can be automatically generated if you are just announcing or if you are just declaring the property variable. The framework can automatically do that for you. So there comes these things and all is they are possible using Metalama, and it is trying to reduce the architecture erosion. Kind of it enhances the platform support as well, the design time. So it helps you get a better design time experience. It provides you a greater performance, and it provides you a great debugability. And so these are all few important things about Metalama. If you want to check out, go ahead and check out in the Metalama maybe a specific website, or you could just search it in online. Right. So the next interesting news would be there is a new wave of attack which is for vulnerable SQL servers. Okay, so if there is some attack nowadays, we have to be a bit curious, and from our family and from our organization and from our team and from every perspective. Okay, so say your SQL server is not that secured, then without any doubt your machine is obviously it's going to go for a task, right? So how does it work? So how they are performing this attack? So there is a famous or there is a tool called Cobalt Strike, so which is used basically by any hackers, professional hackers basically, to retrieve the information or to backdoor anything that they want to perform on the specific targeted machine. So this attack, it targets the vulnerable SQL server and it installs this Cobalt Strike onto the machine to backdoor into the server. Okay, so though I could not give you much more detailed things because it's too technical, but few things that I've read, I found it more interesting, which is, so they first install this Cobalt Strike on the machine. First, they are scanning for the servers, basically, to which server maybe we can just hook on, okay, using the OpenTCP port 1433, that's what I've read. And then they are using brute force attack, they are trying to intrude the pattern. So post that is what they are using this Cobalt Strike to backdoor into the server. Okay, then they might inject some beacons, or they might inject some technical term the system, or they can demand you, and we all know what would be the consequences. Okay, but this is alarm news. Be aware and secure wherever it is required. The last news is about Meta's automatic or universal speech translator, AI powered. Okay, think about automatic speech translator. It needs a standard language training system. Like if I want to translate anything from Tamil to English, I have to feed the dictionary of Tamil as well to English, so that they would map each and every word to that. So that's how any text to speech conversion or speech to text conversion works. Okay, the motto behind this universal speech translator research project announcement by Meta is anybody can talk any language. Just imagine a person from America, he speaks fluent Hindi, so that would be great. The same applies for any other languages as well, right? So as I was mentioning, it's not possible without having the standard language dictionary or vocabulary set to train the AI system. We all know that artificial intelligence, it heavily relies on training samples. Okay, so this are the two areas of focus that they had announced in their press release. Number one, it focuses on building AI systems that is going to learn to translate into any language with few training samples on it. The second area is what universal speech translator, which is going to translate from any language to any language with the help of AI system without using any standard language system on it. So that would be amazing, I think, but it's not going to come in any time soon. It will take its own time. And so they had a lot of issues before. Some interesting fact to tell you about. There is a Palestinian person who got arrested by Israeli police, and he had written good morning in Arabic. Okay, but it got translated into attack them in English and hurt them in Hebrew. Okay, so which is again it had impacted, and he had taken the snapshot and he had again posted on Facebook for it. So it would obviously cause sensitive issues. I mean, between the countries, between the language speaking people might be impacted. Okay, so later, if you already there are few platforms like Google, Facebook, and there are few things they are using this automatic translation, but some text they're going wrong as interpreted one. All right, so they have announced that these are going to be taken care with that. So at one day maybe we could just use that tool, or we could use that system, like just how we command Alexa, we could use that as well to talk with anybody. Okay, so that's all I have for today. I'll see you with some interesting content in the next video. Until then, bye-bye. If you're watching for the very first time, and if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. And we have contents about coding, live coding, or live project building, personality development, and live blogs walkthrough, and we have tech diaries, our new series, and all those things. So please subscribe, share, like, and comment however you feel about the video. Let's spread the technical literacy throughout the globe. Thank you for watching our video.